Welcome to Ask Brad. I'm going to try to do this every week during one of my broadcasts. So if you don't get your question answered tonight, then please submit questions when I tweet about it in the future. Again, if you follow me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is FolderBrad. FolderBrad, at FolderBrad. I'm always tweeting about what's going on the feed, videos that we're doing, and most importantly, links to stuff like, hey, send a question in for Ask Brad. So let's get started. I should have said put your name. I'll just read your forum name. Forum member Liam Duprez asks, would you be willing to start a Kickstarter for your perfect game, make a video, see where the money went, and maybe get a developer to get involved? That would be a great idea. I will say I don't have a perfect game. That's more of just an inside joke. But it's a great idea. I don't think anyone would back anything that I'd be willing to make. You see developers who have made games before who's just like their pitch isn't good enough and they don't even make, the money they need to make their game. Why would anybody donate to a Kickstarter led by me? But hey, if I can get some good developers together or get a good programmer, a good artist, a good musician, I might be willing to just, design a game on the cheap, like an indie game or something, because I have always wanted to do something like that. He asked another question. Tell me what you think of Pokemon X and Y so far. I have not played it. I probably won't play it either. So, sorry guys. Mr. Green TOS on the forums asks, considering this is the month of Halloween, what non-horror games would you like to see get a horror spin-off / DLC? Example, Red Dead's Undead Nightmare or Sleeping Dogs Nightmare in North Point. That's a really good question. That's a really fucking good question. So what I liked about Red Dead's Undead Nightmare is because what I think Rockstar is best at is when they're kind of writing comedic stuff. That's why I think GTA 5 and like Trevor is really good because it's funny. And Undead Nightmare kind of let Red Dead's universe, which was mostly serious with the exception of some kooky characters, be silly and not take itself too seriously and just be kind of funny. And I really like that. So I would like to see a series go horror, but more of that kind of horror, more of like kind of the self-aware. And I think Sleeping Dogs did that kind of thing too. I would like to see, man, how about Zelda go horror, like just but kind of like Halloweeny horror, like my favorite world in the original Kingdom Hearts was Halloween Town. I would like to see, you know what? Fuck it, scratch that. Final Fantasy Tactics, goes beyond or goes to some realm where everything is spooky. And then all of a sudden your job classes are like zombie and vampire and shit. And you get all kinds of unique fucking horror abilities. Oh man, that would be cool. Or Metal Gear. Why not Metal Gear? Anyways, question 2. Have you ever pushed a game onto a person to play relentlessly only to regret it later on? Well, I've definitely pushed games on people before. People that are probably... Oh, this happens to me a lot because I'm like, hey, try this game. So the interesting thing about Malia is that she kind of won't play anything that you push on her because she's very stubborn that way. She'll be like, if I'm playing a game, I got to pick it, on my own volition. So that's why she ended up playing Rise of the Argonauts to completion. But I've suggested games that I thought would be a great fit, like several, she really loves Fable, right? So I said, hey, play Wind Waker. She couldn't give a shit. And I guess the regret is more that when I do this and like that person usually tries it for 15 minutes and then stops playing and then they never want to play it again. And then I've kind of lost that battle. It's harder to like, I feel like now she'll never play a Zelda game because I pushed it on her or something. I don't know. Although recently I pushed Symphony of the Night on Crispy and he actually played it. I'd like to see if he keeps up with that because that was pretty cool. I wonder if there's any good highlights from that. Would you rather... J52 asks, would you rather be able to sprint as long as you want without getting tired, or be able to fly but look awkward and dumb when you do it, and it's as tiring as sprinting? Huh. Well, I'd probably rather be able to sprint as long as I want without getting tired, to be completely honest. Because I have a feeling that if I could fly and could get tired, I would get tired super quick. Because when I sprint in real life, I get tired super quick because I'm a large man. So I'm going to go with sprinting without getting tired, because who needs a car when you're sprinting everywhere and you don't get tired? That would just be cool. And I don't want to look stupid while I'm flying. People will make fun of me, and the government will capture me and do tests and stuff. All right. Nagasi asks, when is the hide subscriber emoticon? I don't know how that stuff works. Could we actually take a picture of Hyde and get him turned into an emoticon? That'd be kind of cool. Maybe we'll do something like that.
Maybe there's a wolf in our town now.
Okay. Malia's playing Animal Crossing, and a wolf moved into our town. What's his name? Wolfgang. Great. Toast asks, if you were stranded on a desert island with only one other 4PP staff/crew member, who would it be and why? I would say probably Chris Davis, so he can edit all my video footage. No, I'm kidding. I'd kill him. No, let's see. Who would it be? I would say... I don't know, man. Hyde. Hyde, are you an official crew member? Come here, Hyde. If Hyde gets his own emoticon, then he's an official member. And I'm going to go to the desert island with Hyde, because when I get hungry, guess who I'm eating? I'm just kidding. Because he's cool. And he licks stuff. Oh, whoa.
You would die like instantly.
All right. He also asks, what one game in the future, or not in the future, but dream game you wish would be made would make you buy a Vita? I have a good answer. Again, I don't want to keep going back to it, but Final Fantasy Tactics is my favorite game of all time. The port that came out on the original PSP was very lazy. It had some technical issues. There wasn't a lot of new content or whatnot. But later, Yasumi Matsuno and a lot of the guys he made the original Tactics Ogre with, who also made Final Fantasy Tactics, kind of rebuilt Tactics Ogre from the ground up, redid all the systems and everything, retranslated it. If I could get a Final Fantasy Tactics treatment that's like a complete ground up, remake, that would be really cool. That would be really fucking cool. I'd love to see that on the Vita. Or how about just a new fucking Castlevania? Give me Symphony of the Night 2 on a Vita. That'd be cool. Get the old guys back and make me Symphony of the Night 2. How about that? Yes, thank you. Which 4PP staff member do you think is the best at being a member of the... Wait a minute. Which 4PP staff member do you think would be the best at being a member of the opposite sex, and why? Well... Everyone in chat is saying Nick. Gray Fox says, oh, baby. I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with Joseph. Definitely Joseph. Because it just seems to fit with his personality. And if you know Joseph, he would, yeah, exactly. He would totally embrace it. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Mod Life asks, Brad, do you feel? How does it feel to have an Easter egg made? How does it feel to have an Easter egg be made inspired by you? I would probably ship bricks if there was an Easter egg about me, and it's one of my most successful games of the year, and it's one of the most successful games of the year. I think it's fucking great, you know? It's cool that Scooter Brothers made it in the Grand Theft Auto 5. Not my proudest moment, but I guess some people found it funny. Some writer at Rockstar thought it was funny. I'd maybe prefer like a hot dogs fucking Easter egg in a proper Hitman game, or maybe a pool party Easter egg in like a Saints Row. But hey, I'll settle for Scooter Brothers. It's pretty fucking rad. I just with Rockstar maybe sent me a care package with a copy of the game or something, because I hate to break it to you guys, but my Grand Theft Auto 5 is going back to GameFly today or tomorrow morning. So anyways, Slacker897 says, in your opinion, what is the most underrated game of the year so far? Underrated. That is a game that's like didn't get great reviews, but I think is actually kind of awesome. I'm guessing it would be a good definition for underrated. Well, the good news is I could pull up this spiffy little list. Scroll hard to the bottom. Oh, I already know it, because this game was not reviewed well, which is not too surprising because the game kind of looked like Bo Butt, and you know, it's not the kind of game that your typical critics would enjoy. Your typical video game critics would enjoy. But I really, really enjoyed a game that came out, I think, the first week of the year. I really, really enjoyed Anarchy Reigns. Because the multiplayer, when you get a group of people together, like I did, and I played with Sci-Fi Chig, Zocano, and Jaeger a whole bunch, and some of the other guys, and we just did 2-on-2 matches, and it was insanely fun. Insanely fucking fun. I also think that game has a kick-ass soundtrack. Yeah, the single-player campaign's kind of lame, but the multiplayer, you know, if in those smaller matches, was insanely fun. It's kind of like a modern-day Power Stone. Other than that, I would say, something like The Wonderful 101, but I guess that got pretty solid reviews. I guess the lowest rated game that I actually think is pretty goddamn hype is Anarchy Reigns. So that's probably would be on my list of most underrated of the year. I'm scrolling through this list. Man, a lot of games came out this year. But again, Anarchy Reigns, has no online community probably anymore, but you could buy that game for cheap as hell off of something like GameFly. And if you get a group of guys together, like from our own community, you'd probably have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, I guess that's my answer. I'm not seeing anything else here. He says, in your opinion, what is the most overrated game of the year so far? Well, let's look at the top of the list. Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5, I really like. It's a good game. But right under Grand Theft Auto 5 is BioShock Infinite. That game is the most overrated of the year so far. I'm not going to go into detail, but it was kind of a big letdown for me. Sorry, kiddos. All right, what's next? Old Mutton Chops asks, how do you feel about more and more video games going for a more cinematic approach to game design? I didn't realize everyone was going to submit 3 fucking questions. Hopefully people stop doing that. How do you feel cinematic approach to game design? I'm not a huge fan. I've always think gameplay comes first. So I would never, want to see a game sacrifice the chance at doing a really cool system or something to make the game more cinematic. I mean, I love watching movies. I can watch movies. They're plenty cinematic for me. But if that game does something unique in terms of like a game like Heavy Rain or The Walking Dead, then I'll enjoy it, but definitely not my preference. He also asks, have you beaten Crimson Shroud yet? I'm on my second playthrough, and it's even harder than the first time, plus more areas are unlocked. I did beat Crimson Shroud one time. You get kind of like a shitty ending, and you're supposed to play through it again. I have not played through it all the way my second time, but I do really like that game. He also says, have you seen In Bruges? It's a great movie it seems like no one knows about. Yes, I have seen In Bruges, and I love In Bruges, and I highly recommend people to watch the movie In Bruges. I'm going to paste it in the chat so people can see the name of it, because it's probably kind of hard to spell. Look that up. That movie's really good. Probably one of Colin Farrell's better performances. I recommend it. This GIF is just obscene. Look. The corn is my favorite part. Oh, no, that one's pretty good too. Would you play Diablo 3 on the feed/live stream if I buy it for you? Says Agrovane. No. I'm not going to play Diablo 3. I've had some rough experiences with Diablo 2 in the past. I'm going to stick to my guns. All right. Pride Swine says, who do you think would win in a fight? 30 duck-sized Chris Davises or one horse-sized fighting pork chop? Everyone has to consume copious amounts of Four Loko beforehand, too. Well, definitely not the 30 duck-sized Chris Davises, because have you seen him on Drunkcast? He doesn't do so hot. And he usually cuts the feed before the other person's ready, so I'm going to go with the horse-sized pork chop in that fight. If they're on if they've consumed copious amounts of Four Loko. All right. Which of the following death methods do you choose? This is from Butts. Oh, yeah, this is from Butts. Yeah, Butts. It's just his name on our forum is just Butts. Butts. That's great. He says, which of the following death methods do you choose? There's a picture of Dr. Thunder, Dr. B, Mr. Pibb, Mr. Pig. Is that real? There's a Mr. Pig that's supposed to taste like Dr. Pepper? Real Dr. Pepper, and then Dr. Skipper. What is the Dr. Pepper that we get at all the hipster food places we go to? Dublin Dr. Pepper? No? What is it called? It's called something else. None of those. I choose Coke Zero, motherfuckers. But Dr. Pepper tin ain't bad. Yeah, Dublin Dr. Pepper is pretty good. Okay. Who would you rather see as a protagonist in a new IP, Nick or Hyde? Probably Nick, because it would be a dinosaur game, and we don't get a lot of dinosaur games these days. Hyde, it would just be like Dog's Life, and Hyde's so dumb, so the AI would suck. And yeah, I don't know. It'd probably just be a ball-catching game, because that's all he likes to do. All right, question was, by the way, from Emperor Mold. Foxy Manly Man asks, a cowboy rides into town on Friday, stays for 3 days, and leaves on Friday. How did he do it? Oh! Someone in chat spoiled it. His horse is Friday. He rides into town on Friday, and he leaves on Friday. Someone spoiled it. That's a pretty good riddle, though. I was gonna say, and this is a proper answer. He just leaves the following Friday. It says he stays for 3 days, but if you stay for 7 days, you're still also staying for 3 days. You know, so that works too. All right, what else do we have here? Donald Graham 77 says, hello, Brad. Are you still writing articles for the site? Also, will we see more Molia Mondays? No, I'm not writing articles for the site anymore. I haven't for a long time. I'm focusing my efforts on broadcast stuff and videos and whatnot. And there's a lot of hold on. There's a lot of other stuff that I do that you don't see behind the scenes, like we do a lot of stuff that y'all don't see, like write emails and schedule things and have meetings and whatnot. But yeah, I'm pretty busy with work and everything else. Writing articles. Here's the thing about writing articles. They take a lot of time. I'm not that good at it, and no one reads them. So my question to you is, why are you not writing copious amounts of articles in the community section on the site? Because you have the ability to do that now. So if you're a writer and you like writing, we have given you a great platform to do so. And if you stick around, we should be doing some site revisions that kind of push community articles even more to the forefront than they already are. So definitely look for those changes to the site coming in the next couple months or so. So yeah. Also, he says, will we see any more Malia Mondays? Malia Monday, that's when you picked random games from the thing and made me play them. I don't know. Probably not, but you will definitely see some more cooped up with Brad and Malia. The thing is, there's a couple things we need. We need another PlayStation 3 controller, and we need another Wiimote, because that's kind of where I want to play those games. So I don't know. I just need to borrow one, I guess. But that's kind of what's been keeping us from doing this. Daniel says, "Hi Brad, are you Jewish?" No, I am not Jewish. Happy Maker says, "Best JRPG ever?" ? This is a hard one for me to answer. Does Symphony of the Night count as a JRPG? Kind of does, right? I would say, it depends on my mood. Final Fantasy VI, on some days, on other days, it might be Suikoden 1 and 2 as a collective. Actually, if I could do Suikoden 1, 2, and 3 together, it'd probably be my top, but that's just cheating. Anyways, the best Western RPG ever, I'm going to go with either Diablo 2 or Morrowind. Those are my two favorites. What is your beef with platformers, and are you willing to give Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank a try? Okay, I've actually played Ratchet and Clank games in the past. I enjoy Ratchet and Clank, mostly because those are third-person shooters, not actually platformers. There's very little platforming in most of that series. I don't like 3D platformers. I don't like the way they feel. I don't like the way they control. I don't think I've ever played a 3D platformer where I like the way, like the sense of movement feels, with the exception of maybe something like Mirror's Edge, but that one's a little out there in terms of, would you even consider that a traditional platformer? Like the Mario games, the 3D Mario games, as creative as they are, and as much as I love Mario 64 for a lot of other reasons, I just hate the way they feel. I hate the way those games control. I hate the way they feel. They'll never feel as good as the 2D Mario games did have for me. The other problem is, in the middle of the N64 era, all of a sudden platformers became all about collecting shit, and very few of them ever got away from that. I just hate it. Jak and Daxter, for a similar reason, is why I didn't want to play that. I don't want to collect a ridiculous amount of arbitrary things for no fucking reason other than I need them to progress, so I just need to collect them because whatever. Even when they don't, especially when they don't even really do anything for me. And especially when there's like 18 different types of things to collect, and I just, no. Just not for me. It's just not a genre that I've ever really loved that much. Okay. Topolo, that was Happy Maker, by the way. Topolo asks, you were complaining recently about a lack of good Metroidvanias for you to play, forcing you to replay old ones. Yet I remember you saying that you never played much Metroid Prime 2 or 3. Is there any reason why you're avoiding them? I could be misremembering things, in which case this question can be ignored. Oh, well, this is a great fucking question because you're right. I do love Metroidvanias, mostly side-scrolling ones, but I love a good 3D Metroidvania as well. In fact, Metroid Prime is one of my favorite games of all time. It's in my top 20 games of all time. Here's the problem. Metroid Prime 2, I think, came out at a time, like a ridiculous time, when so many games are coming out. I was probably playing Metal Gear Solid 3 at the time, and I just didn't pick it up. I eventually got around to playing it, but I had a really hard time with the first Metroid Prime, especially towards the end of the game. Some of those fights, like against Ridley and some of the other bullshit, really frustrated me in a way that kind of angered me. And everything I heard about Metroid Prime 2 is that it's way more difficult than the first Metroid Prime, which to me sounded like a huge mistake. That's not what I wanted at all. Now, I have started the game several times before. I've never finished it. And it's always the kind of thing, well, I'll eventually get around to it. And the issue now is, now Metroid Prime 3 is I didn't get a Wii until, Xenoblade came out and Skyward Sword that year. So I never actually had Metroid Prime 3. In fact, I still don't. But here's the issue. Metroid Prime, like these days, the only way I can play Metroid Prime 2 is on my Wii or my GameCube. And my capture stuff for composite cables, like red, yellow, white, is really shitty. It looks really bad on the feed. So I kind of don't play a lot of those older games. Now, I can play PS2 games because I can play them on my PS3, and Wii games I can play on my Wii U, and that stuff doesn't look as bad as far as the capture goes. But the older stuff I don't like to play a bunch of because it looks really bad on the feed. So because I broadcast so much, it's probably one of the main reasons why I don't play those games anymore. If I had like the Metroid Prime collection on the Wii, I'd probably play that on the Wii U, but I don't have that, and it's super expensive. Now, the other option is Dolphin. Now, I do have a PC good enough to run Dolphin games, but the Metroid Prime games have always been kind of finicky with Dolphin, so that's another reason why I haven't messed around with it too much. Like they're not very clean. They're not very cleanly emulated through Dolphin. So yeah, but again, I'll get around to it someday. Definitely will. And it's just the thing. It's been something I've been putting off and putting off. Topolo also asked, "Do you intend on finishing any Thief games before the new one comes out next year?" I know a good number of people want to see you play Deadly Shadows on the feed, albeit largely for the horror level towards the end. Okay, yeah, I do plan to. I played a chunk of Thief 2 earlier in the year, but then Thief 4 got delayed. I just been putting it off. I will play more of Thief 2. I'll probably play through Thief 2 on the feed before Thief 4 comes out. Thief 3 or Deadly Shadows, if I can get the PC version running okay, I'll probably try to play through that too, because I know people really want to see the Shellbridge Manor or whatever it's called. So yeah, expect to see some old school Thief being played on the feed before the release of Thief 4. TJ Collins asks, I have two questions for you. What is your favorite video game soundtrack? That is tough. That's a hard one for me to answer. But I would say Symphony of the Night is up there. But that's just the first thing that pops into my head. Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I love Nier's soundtrack, but that's very recent, I don't know. That one I've thought a lot about, and it's really hard because for me, music is, it's hard listening to old game music and not just kind of be sucked in because of the nostalgia. An old song plays from a game that you played as a kid, and all of a sudden it's the greatest song in the world because it reminds you of when you played that game. So I feel like it's hard to objectively kind of rank my favorite soundtracks, if that makes any sense at all. But I love Nier soundtrack. I love God Hand soundtrack, or all soundtracks from that guy. There's so many soundtracks. I love Sakamoto's stuff with Final Fantasy Tactics. I love Link to the Past. Like all my favorite games are soundtracks I love because I love those fucking games. Now, there are some games that I don't even like that have great fucking soundtracks, like Chrono Cross or, well, whatever. Let's move on. We got a lot of questions. He also asked, if a genie came out of your Dreamcast one day and told you you have 3 wishes, what would be your 3 wishes? Could they be any wishes, or do they have to be video game wishes? That's weird. I'd wish for 1,000,000 more wishes, and then I would wish Hyde to be less annoying. And then I would wish for I don't know, man. 1,000,000 more wishes. No, I would wish for Yasumi Matsuno to get the team back together, to have the budget to make a proper sequel to Final Fantasy Tactics. A Final Fantasy Tactics 2. I have a lot of video game wishes, but that's probably my ultimate video game wish. Omni Slasher says, do you think we'll see less shitty ports next gen, now that the next gen consoles are using similar specs? Less shitty ports. I don't even know what that question means. You're talking about when like the lead platform is on the Xbox, will the PS4 version be okay? Or if it leads on PS4, will the 360 or the Xbox One version be okay? If that's the question, then I think there are going to be less shitty ports, because I do think that hardware is much more compatible, much more comparable, for sure. A lot of the ports going from 360 to PS3 were really awkward because of the PS3 cell structure, and just didn't gel well with Unreal Engine. Omni Slasher also has a animated GIF that's very distracting. Y'all should check that out. All right, Butts can't ask another question, but it's a good question. He says, Brad, did you ever have an awkward anime phase? If yes, own up to it proudly or jokingly, or do you try to sweep it under the rug and forget? If no, what would you say substituting your mandatory awkward teenage obsession phase? That's a strange question. I don't know. I watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z when I was young, and as a teenager, like on Toonami. I liked it. I like Dragon Ball Z. Although I stopped in the middle of the Boo Saga because it's getting kind of stupid. Yeah, define awkward. I don't know. No, I mean I've never been like obsessed with anime, but I've definitely seen I've seen some good ones. Not ashamed of any of those. I've seen God, what is it called? Haruhi? I saw that show. That series. That one's people are pretty ashamed of, right? What is it called? What's the full name? I don't know if they ever did more of it, but I saw the first season of that or whatever, the first series, and I thought it was actually pretty good, pretty funny. But yeah, I don't watch a lot. I've never watched that much.
Oh my gosh.
I think Bebop is my favorite still.
The stupid fucking bitch Renee is back.
I watched a lot when I was living with David because he had so fucking much of it. Renee is back. She moved back in.
She said she came to check out our shops.
I have seen Samurai Champloo. I love Samurai Champloo. As far as the ones you are mentioning, I've not seen Full Metal Alchemist. I have seen Full Metal Panic, but that's something different. I like Last Exile because I like all the flying in that show, that series. I've seen a bunch, but again, it was a long time ago, so yeah. FLCL. Seen that. Seen a bunch of stuff actually, but I just kind of stopped. Probably when I stopped living with David. Anyways, Haas 3000 says, "My dearest Brad, have you ever straightened your hair out? Sincerely, Haas 3000. Malia once straightened half of my hair for fun, and that was kind of funny. But that was the only time that's ever happened." Will we ever see the critically acclaimed Cooking with Brad segment ever again? Edit. Well, never mind. Looks like you've created the greatest entree ever. Okay, he edited his post. That was Mr. Panda. Yes, you will see it again. Will there be more in the future? Maybe. I don't know. Probably. All right. J52 says, if you could have infinite of one specific thing aside from money, what would it be? Aside from money, infinite anything. Infinite boobs. Oh! I got it. I got the perfect answer. Infinite time. Booyah, motherfucker! I solved your little riddle. Infinite power. That's so like, that's so like undefined. You can't do that. All right. Travis Anderson asks, "What is the best multiplayer game you've ever played?" Well, I have a stock answer for this, and it's the one I like to give because so few people have played it, and I thought it was so fucking cool. Was it my favorite game multiplayer game I've ever played? I don't know, but it was so awesome. Not enough people played it, and I would love to see a proper sequel to that game come back, and that is Phantom Dust on the original Xbox. It was so cool. That the designer of that game is still making games. He's actually he recently. I mean, the creator of that game was also the Panzer Dragoon creator, and he, who's also happens to be the creator of the Xbox One launch title Crimson Dragon, which is just a spiritual successor to Panzer Dragoon. So, if somehow he could be convinced to make another Phantom Dust for Xbox One, I'd get an Xbox One. Because Phantom Dust was great online. What game has had the most fun / innovative way to get around? Interesting. Fun / innovative way to get around. God, man, I'd really have to think about that. I really like the ninja rope and Worms. Does that count? Because it requires so much skill and nothing ever goes right. Just Cause 2. I don't know. Some good ones. Suikoden and 4 sucked. You know what? Also, web swinging in Spider-Man 2, really good. He also asks, what game was the most fun? Oh, no, he says, if you could take two games to combine and make one, what would they be? Two games to combine one, what would they be? I'll tell you what they'd be. I would take... No, I can't say that. I can't say that. It's too good of an idea. It's too good of an idea. It's too good! Ah! How about you take A Link to the Past with Castlevania Symphony of the Night and make another proper Blood Omen game. Because that's kind of what that is. Man, Dark Souls and Castlevania. That would be cool. How about just finally put in some whips that don't suck balls into Dark Souls? That'd be great. Yeah. It would, for me, it probably would be tactics and something Dread. If I I think a lot of games could become strategy RPGs in pretty satisfying ways. Anything really, it'd be so cool, like Castlevania. Anyways, let's see, that was Travis Anderson. Haas 3000 doesn't ask another question. Gamer Beck says, if you were to create a Castlevania game, what would the subtitle be? Castlevania. I've got the perfect answer. The Symphony of the Night 2. Can I have that? Can I have that? But that's not how Castlevania titles work. It would have to be Symphony of the Dawn. Oh shit. Symphony of the Dawn. Something like that. Something like that. All right. Colin asks, my favorite games come from the big innovation boom in 1998. Half-Life, StarCraft, Metal Gear Solid, Ocarina of Time, Parasite Eve. I agree. That's a great fucking year. Do you think a comparable year has happened since, or is it possible with the next generation? I think 1998 is the best every year for video games thus far. I think we've had some years that have come pretty fucking close. But man, look at a full list of that year, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't think 1998 has ever been bested. Is it possible? Of course. It's always possible. But it hasn't been bested yet. Except maybe like 2001 or 2002 or 2003 or 4 or 5. Man, every year is a great year for video games. We should be so goddamn lucky we're not playing NES games anymore. Snell V3 says, Brad, if your house was on fire and you could only save 3 gaming-related items from your home, what would they be and why? Games, consoles, accessories, posters, etc. Man, that's a good fucking question.
You haven't thought about this?
No. I would probably take one of my biggest gaming wallet because it holds over 300 games. I'd probably take that. Although I have a lot more.
Roll the card out. Just roll the card out. That'll be one item.
Yeah, there you go. The cart with all my games. No, why save the consoles? Consoles can be easily replaced.
Wonderful 101 case.
Yeah, I have a copy of a Wonderful 101 that's been signed by Hideki Kamiya. I'd probably take that. And because you can't really replace that. And I would take Hyde is not gaming related.
All the stuff I got you for Christmas last year.
Yeah. No. I don't know, guys. Man, that's tough. I would take my second biggest gaming wallet filled with games. So, yeah. Or no, I would take... No, because I could probably get another print. Once for my birthday, an artist friend of David's drew a Bayonetta just for me. And I have the art hanging on my wall. But I could probably get another print. But that was pretty cool. Yeah, I would save my Hitman poster. Nicolas Cage Hitman. Or yeah, I'd probably just save my PC, to be honest. Okay. Zach says, what game series would you like to see switch genres? That's really cool. Oh, by the way, wait. No, I missed a question. Zinzolu says, hey, Brad, is Nick still short in your eyes? Everyone's short in my eyes. I got to be honest with you. There's people who've been sufficiently tall, but I've always considered them short, and they're like, what the fuck, man? You're just a giant. I do have a full set of Final Fantasy Tactics figurines from that came out when War of the Lions came out. Maybe I'd save those. Zach asks, what game series would you like to see switch genres? That's an interesting question. Game series would you like to see switch genres? I would like to see Castlevania switch genres. From God of War clone back to Metroidvania. How about that? There you go. Bob Guy 13 asks, have you ever or would you ever poop sock Dark Souls 2 / Dark Chronicle? I mean, I played Dark Souls 2 on the feed before, but that game is too long to poop sock. But I do love that game. He also says, how excited were you when Kamiya visited during the Wonderful 101 cast? I was like kind of hyperventilating a little bit. I was glad that he was hanging out during a lot of cutscenes because I didn't want to have to play the game in front of him. But it's true. If y'all weren't here that night, Hideki Kamiya himself jumped into our live stream and was chatting for a little bit. And we had JP from Platinum Games confirm that it was indeed him. Which was fucking cool. And I was playing the Wonderful 101. He says, do you like strategy games? If so, which title would you say is your favorite? Well, my favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy Tactics. But as far as pure strategy, I also really love Advance Wars. Is Chris Davis cross Nick a canon pairing? I don't know what that means, but I'm going to go yes. That's Bob Guy 13. Wayward Warrior 7 asks, will you ever go back to finish Tales of Vesperia even if you do it off the feed? I definitely want to go back and finish that someday. Absolutely. Smelly Jelly says, what's your current what current television shows are you most enjoying? Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about that. I wouldn't say I'm enjoying too much any of the things I'm watching on television right now. What's the status of Couch Brotatoes? I don't know. Carlos never comes over, so not much of any status. If you were to ask me what my favorite shows are, I might have an answer for that. Something like The Wire or West Wing or Firefly or something like that. I've not even seen much of that show. I only wanted to watch it because I thought you would like it. Deadwood, I really like. A lot of HBO stuff. The Sopranos, I like. Battlestar Galactica, I like. Freaks and Geeks, I like. What other shows do I like? All right. That was Smelly Jelly. Shadow Dirk. Game of Thrones is cool, but probably not one of my favorite shows. I really like the books though. If you go replace a male protagonist with a female protagonist as the main character in any franchise, which one franchise would you choose? I have an answer for this because there has been, I think, one. No. I have an answer. I have a good answer. I have an answer. I would like to see a proper Zelda game where you play as Zelda. And not some shitty CDI bullshit, like a proper 3D, not non-spin-off Zelda game where you play as Princess Zelda. That'd be cool. Badass Princess Zelda. That would be cool. Because when we were kids, we all thought that the main character's name was Zelda because it said Zelda on the box. And whoever's name is on the box is the person that you control. And we were all confused, just like what we were with Metroid. Anyways, yeah, so there you go. What kind of car do you drive? Are you into sports cars at all? You already asked a question. The ketchup's pretty good, too. I drive a Camry, and no, I'm not into sports cars or any kind of car, really. I don't listen to much music at all anymore. But I'd say when I did, I listened to a lot of indie music. And how did I meet Malia? None of your damn business. It was a Craigslist ad. We used to work together. Dartboard asks, "Hey Brad, what's your favorite Bethesda game?" I see. He gives some examples. Morrowind, absolutely, Morrowind. It was my first Elder Scrolls game, and I loved it so much because I love that world. I love just the feeling of openness, just kind of go where you want. But I also what I loved about Morrowind that I don't love so much about some of the later ones is just how much more freedom you had in Morrowind with the ability to kind of create spells and enchant stuff and you could levitate in those games and fly around where you wanted, which the later ones never could because you had to load into towns, which I also really didn't like. I liked how the biggest fucking towns in Morrowind you could just walk up to and you're in. It wasn't a separate fucking loading thing, and you guys know how I feel about seamlessness. All right. He says mine's Fallout 3 because it's the best developed world, yada, yada, yada. Thanks, Dartboard. Greg/Gregory says, who killed Juan? No one killed Juan, except maybe you. And who would win in an arm wrestling match, you or Malia? My money is on Malia. She'd probably not win. But, yeah. Do you like cheese, says Equin. I like cheese, but I think I might be a little intolerant towards it. But I never did any proper tests because I kind of don't want to know the truth. Wesley asks, what type of game mechanics make or break a game for you? It's an interesting question. I really hate turret sequences. I hate games that are timed or have some sort of like artificial pressure put on the player. I don't play a lot of I don't play any real-time strategy games because I don't like to not have enough time to execute my strategies and whatnot.
Go away.
Basically anything that involves time or a lack of time in general kind of doesn't gel well with me very well. If you could remake either your favorite game or your least favorite game, what would you change about it? There's a lot of things I do to fix up Final Fantasy Tactics, like speed the fucking game up, have the ability to move, to take back a move after you've moved. There's a lot of things. I could talk all night about that. My least favorite game? I don't think I have a least favorite game. Who has a least favorite game? That's just weird. Right? How about if let's say theoretically, if my least favorite game was BioShock Infinite, which is not, maybe I tweak it to where it wasn't just a mindless shooter that's not a very satisfying one either. Okay, and the final question is from Big Wazoo. He says, or he has two questions. If you had a friend who wasn't into video games, what 3 video game franchises would you introduce them to? weren't into games, which 3 video game franchises would I introduce them to? Well, that's a weird question. I'd probably just pick a game, not a franchise. They weren't into games. What would I introduce them to? This is a good question, but this is a tough one. I think a game that anyone can enjoy, whether they're into video games or not, Katamari Damacy. It's just too goddamn cool and funny and awesome. Also,
Can I do the Goosebumps puzzle, or you want to do it?
you can do it. I don't know. This is a tough question. This is a really tough question. How about like a Zelda game, but maybe I don't know which Zelda game. Link to the Past is too hard and clunky. Well, I wouldn't call it clunky, but it's tricky. It's different. If you're not used to that, you get your ass handed to you. How about Wind Waker HD? I could see people enjoying that. I don't know. How about Tetris? And the final question is from Big Wazoo. Says, if you could wipe your memory of any video game franchise to experience it again for the first time, what franchise would that be? That is a damn good question. I'm gonna be honest with you. I hate going back to this. I would do Castlevania because the first Castlevania that I really, really got into was Symphony of the Night. And I swear by that formula. And I've since gone back to play through, a lot of the older Castlevania games. I had played some NES Castlevania back in the day, but I thought it was hard and stupid and I hated it. But I've since gone back and I've played through a couple of the games. I've notoriously always kind of hated old Castlevania. And I've always preferred Symphony of the Night and that formula. And I'm wondering if I erased my memory but started from the beginning. If I started from the beginning, I'm curious if my feelings about Metroidvanias and Symphony of the Night specifically would have remained the same. Would I still have loved it and said, hey, this is absolutely the way this series should have gone because it's fucking great? It's hard for me to answer that because, again, I started with Symphony of the Night. So that'd be kind of interesting. Anyways, that is the last question of a very long Ask Brad. They're probably not going to be this long in the future because I'm probably not going to read 3 questions from every single person like I did this time. But I'm going to try to do these once a week. And we're going to upload these to YouTube so you can watch them later if you missed any of them. And I'll be tweeting out about, the thread when it goes live, reminding y'all to post questions in the thread in the future. Follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle's @folderbrad. And, that's where I post links to videos and stuff and talk about what I'm going to play and what I'm not going to play. So you should probably just be following me on Twitter. Anyways, but that's it. I'm tired. Let's play some video games.